Good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Board of Education. The meeting is called to order at 4:30 p.m. in open session. Roll call, please.
Student Board Member Iwan Yangwu. Ms. Armstrong.
Present.
Ms. Cintron. I'll come back. Mr. Critchfield.
Present.
Mrs. Garza.
Present.
Ms. Stewart.
Present.
Ms. Cintron.
Present.
Tonight we do not have requests addressing closed session agenda items. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right. At this time, the board will recess to closed session. Open session will resume at approximately 6 p.m. Welcome back, everyone. Tonight's meeting of the Board of Education was called to order at 4:30 p.m. in open session. We then adjourned to closed session and will now reconvene the meeting in open session at 6:28 p.m. Board Clerk Critchfield will update us on closed session topics.
Thank you, Madam President. Topics discussed in closed session were anticipated litigation, labor negotiations, public employee discipline, dismissal and release. The board took no action in closed session.
Thank you, Clerk Critchfield. Okay, so Pledge of Allegiance tonight, we have the Somerset Principal, Dr. Sorry, I didn't write this and I didn't bring my glasses, sorry. And I was going to call you by your first name, but I know that would not be professional. So, will you please lead us in the flag salute?
Absolutely. Everyone, please rise and put your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you. Do we have any replacement pages tonight? No? Do we have any amendments to the agenda? Okay. We have no recognition, so we are at our student staff spotlight. So tonight we will be recognizing Jolene Liera from Somerset High School. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Board President Amy Stewart, members of the school board, Superintendent Dr. Simon, cabinet members, and guests here tonight. Thank you for inviting me to spotlight one of our awesome Somerset Saints, Jolene Liera. I'm Dr. Jamie Jouk, and I'm proud to be the principal of Somerset High School. So while it's true that all students come to Somerset behind in graduation credits, it's important to understand that students have various reasons for this being the case. All of our students have experienced adversity in some form or another very early on in their lives. Some of our students have experienced the loss of a parent, some have struggled with poverty, and others have had to deal with difficult family dynamics. Another significant reason that students end up needing credit recovery is because of medical issues. This is the case with Jolene. She started with the Bellflower Unified School District in 7th grade at Bellflower Middle School and had a normal school experience until she started to feel sick all the time in 9th grade. The sick feeling caused her to miss school enough that her mom decided to transfer her to Los Flores in 10th grade. Independent study was also a struggle for Jolene because of her increasing physical ailments of an unknown cause. After transferring back to Bellflower High School, she continued to struggle with attendance and focus because of her illness, and so she became behind in credits. The cause of the medical ailment was not discovered until the end of her sophomore year. It was then she learned that she had to have emergency surgery to remove a defective kidney. Without the surgery, she would have not lived to see graduation. After recovering from life-saving surgery, she transferred to Somerset to make up her credits. Jolene has been such a wonderful asset to the Somerset community. She has a wonderful, positive attitude despite all that she has gone through. In fact, she even told me in the ICU, they told her that they couldn't believe what a great attitude she had about the whole thing. She joined the ASB. She reads the daily announcements to the student body. She participates in woodshop. She contributes to the school by helping make the yearbook. She takes all of our photographs. She got on the Key Club. She started the Key Club. She got it up running again and was able to get a $500 donation from the Kiwanis towards the building of our annual Haunted Maze. She's an active student who works to make school more enjoyable for her peers every day. We're so very fortunate to have her at Somerset High School. Some of the staff who could not be here tonight made a short video to share some more great things about Jolene.
My name is Maria Vitale, and I am currently Jolene's English teacher here at Somerset. When I first met Jolene last school year, she was not always on track and not fully focused on getting her credit recovery process going. She was kind of off to a slow start. But fast forward to this school year, and I've seen tremendous growth, not only academically, but also socially and in her interpersonal skills. Jolene is now working diligently on her credit recovery. She's involved with ASB. She's also an active member of the Key Club. And so if I could think of one word to sum it up, I would say the word growth, because I've seen tremendous growth in Jolene from last school year to this school year.
Welcome back, Saints. This is Mr. Peralta, your science teacher here at Somerset High School. And today we are spotlighting the Saint of the Month, Jolie Liera, who is a very resilient student. Every time I see Jolene, she's either doing her work, catching up on credits, or helping out the ASB. Jolene is a very active saint. I think that she's an upstander, and she's a student that we should all try to emulate and look up to. Thank you, Jolene, for your hard work, and we want to see more of that.
Miss Egan, I'm Jolene's English teacher. I wanted to just let all of you know what an inspiration Jolene is. She is a mover and shaker on the Somerset campus. She is involved in Key Club. She's inspirational to the students. She gets them involved. She's an idea person, and she's just so enthusiastic.
A word I would use to describe Jolene is initiative. She steps up in participating in our school events and activities, and she's shown to be a leader and acts on the opportunities that are offered to our students here on campus. So keep it up, all of you.
Congratulations, Jolie, for this recognition of being one of our Spotlight students for Somerset. As your counselor, I have seen the dedication you have made in increasing the amount of classes in order to complete your credits towards graduation. Also, your school involvement with ASB is very much appreciated. I am happy to see you focus in school and looking forward to see which college you decide to attend. Thank you and congrats.
Yes, my name is Brian Amata and I am the ASB director, and I want to congratulate Jolene for being our blockbuster. I'm very impressed with her demeanor of being open-minded and taking leadership. She has totally, in the beginning, very quiet, and has really stepped up to the plate to have her peers follow her in a good direction of being, a successful saint. And what really steps out for me is that she's always happy and always spunky, and just greets everybody with a happy aura, per se, of being an individual who wants to share and share her knowledge. So thank you, and congratulations.
All right, I told Jolene she's got to come up here.
Hi, my name is Jolene. I'm a senior at Somerset, and I just want to say I'm grateful to be able to redo my credits and for them to give me an opportunity so I can go graduate with my friends and at my home school. Even though I really do like this school, they give me opportunities to find good friends and to be more open to other things that I usually wouldn't have done. And I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. We're so happy that your health is doing better and that you're doing better. Would you like to take a picture with us? Okay, awesome. If we could take a picture. Esmeralda, thank you. Thank you again for being here. Okay, so we're moving on to our employee representative reports. We do not have a report from BTA tonight, but we do have one from CSCA. So can Communications Officer Anthony Ramirez please come to the podium? Thank you.
First of all, thank you for that preemptive applause back there. Not sure what prompted that. Anyway, Board President Stewart, board members, Superintendent Simon, Cabinet, BTA representatives, PTA is back here somewhere, and community residents, good evening. My name is Anthony. I am here as a representative of Chapter 32. I am the communication officer. I am here to comment actually on agenda item 12.3. We wanted to get ahead of this item before it comes in front of you. 12.3 is the security services contract on the agenda between the Bellflower Unified School District and Black Knight Patrol. CSCA submitted a demand to bargain notice on the effects of having armed security at our high school campuses. Prior to today, there has only been one meeting, and that meeting only superficially discussed the roles and duties of both Black Knight and our campus security staff. At the start of the meeting, CSCA President Michelle Cuellar made sure that everyone present understood that it was not a negotiation session. BUSD Council agreed. CSCA leadership understands the nature and process of bargaining very well. That meeting in no way satisfied the requirement to bargain the effects of armed security patrolling around our campuses or working with or near our own classified staff. In fact, that meeting raised some serious questions about the allowable use of deadly force that you could be authorizing. We are concerned that this change to any district policy regarding weapons on public school grounds has not been clearly explained to teachers, classified staff, or the community, and also that this contract would potentially put anyone who steps onto high school property in close proximity to an altercation involving the use of at least one firearm. Safety is of the utmost importance to all of us here at Bellflower Unified School District. We have some hard questions that we think need answering, especially since these armed guards will, in fact, be working in the same physical locations that our campus security and staff currently work. If you choose to vote to put armed guards at our two high schools, then we look forward to bargaining the effects of that decision. The resulting bargaining agreement with the district will help ensure all employees are following the same clearly defined policies and procedures. Thank you for hearing our thoughts on this serious issue.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to our superintendent's report. We do not have PTA communications tonight, so Dr. Simon?
Thank you, Board President Stewart, our esteemed members of the board, honored guests, and members of the Bellflower community. The past few weeks have been marked by enthusiasm and joy within our school district. On September 9th, 2025, our South Elementary schools conducted their back-to-school nights, during which I, along with board members and several cabinet members, attended several schools. I was able to join Lindstrom's and IOC's back-to-school nights. It was terrific to watch Principal Sue Curtis and also Sam Plattis as they welcomed students, parents, and guardians. On September 11, 2025, Our North schools conducted their back-to-school nights again, during which I, along with board members and several cabinet members, attended several schools. I was only able to attend one school, and that school was Ernie Powell, and it was a pleasure to meet students, parents, and guardians. On September 11th, our Bellflower High School football team played Whittier High School at Ronnie Erie Stadium, and they pulled out an amazing win. On September 12th, our Mayfair High School football team played Lakewood High School at Lakewood High School, I believe for the milk bucket game. Although they did not achieve victory, our community demonstrated admirable support for the football team. I also had the wonderful opportunity to visit 3 schools on Monday, September 15th, and Tuesday, September 16th. And those schools included IOC, Foster, and Lindstrom. And I want to give a special shout out to the incredible teachers who I met, who I observed, who inspire our students every day. And at IOC, David Zavala, 4th grade teacher, I always enjoy going into Mr. Zavala's class. He is so engaging, and his students are always just aligned with what he's doing in that classroom. Patricia Zaldivar, and also Laura Estrada. At Foster, Karen Baumgars, Ms. Silva, Ms. Frizzell, Ms. Porciuncula, I think I'm saying that correct, and also Mr. Greenwood. Had a pleasure of observing and walking through their classrooms, and again, each teacher was very welcoming. Then at Lindstrom, Ms. Ortega, Kim Ashton, Laura Cummings, Nick McEwen, Cindy, can't pronounce your last name, I want to butcher it, my apologies. They call her Cindy M. at the school. And then also Dr. Kirsten Robertson, TK teacher at Lindstrom as well. And I had an opportunity to take a wonderful picture with the TK students in the classroom with Sue Curtis, the principal, and also with Dr. Kirsten Robertson as well. And I want to send out a heartfelt shout out to Esmeralda Alvarez, the secretary in the elementary office, whose friendly, cheerful, and professional demeanor shines brightly in every interactions with our parents, our guardians, the community, and staff. I've received a lot of just call-outs and shout-outs and affirmation of her amazing behavior and demeanor. So I want to give Mrs. Alvarez a shout-out as well. I had the privilege in participating in the PTA meeting this past Tuesday, also with our board member, Ms. Renita Armstrong, and Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Ryan. Here, we got a chance to engage with the PTA presidents to delve into my 100-day plan and focusing on 2 pivotal questions: what is currently thriving and where can we elevate our investments? And then also, our deputy superintendent had an opportunity to engage in some things that were happening and got to acknowledge the PTA fair that took place this past Saturday as well. And again, I want to just truly extend publicly a huge thank you to my incredible cabinet, whose unwavering dedication and long hours exemplify their commitment to our students, to our parents, to our guardians, and the community. And again, I just want to say publicly, your efforts are deeply appreciated. Thank you so much, Board President Stewart.
Thank you, Dr. Simon. All right, moving on to committee updates. First and foremost, Dr. Simon, I noticed on our Friday memos, we used to have a link to our communication for our committees, and it would have what the committee was, who was on it, and when the next meeting was. And I noticed that that has disappeared, and I would really like it to come back so that we can keep track of these committees, because we haven't had meetings for a while, and I know we're just getting ready, the school's starting, so I get it. But I'd really like to get these committees back going, so if you could find that or what it used to look like, or I can talk with you about it. But I'd like to get that back on our Friday memo, please.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, so starting with Alliance, I know we definitely want to continue Alliance with our president and vice president. That's how we've set that up. So I don't believe we've scheduled those, but typically we have our unions pick the topics for us, so hopefully they can start collaborating with you on that. Are there any other committee updates? Clerk Critchfield?
Thank you, Madam President. Just one, we had a CalAPS meeting, and I mentioned it at the last meeting, but we did vote to amend our bylaws to expand courses to the middle school for our CalAPS program. So that's something that will be coming before this board very soon. Next meeting. And then it'll be, as long as this board agrees to it, and then Linwood board in partnership agrees as well, that's something that I think would be a great benefit to our course offerings and getting younger kids exposed to different trades that will serve them as they move into high school. So that's something I wanted to report. Thank you, Madam President.
Board Member Armstrong?
Well, I met with the LA County Schools Trustees Association. It was basically a planning meeting. However, afterwards, we did have a mixer. So in the future, I'm going to share some dates, and that way, if you all are available, you guys, because you're members too, so you guys could come out and explore some of the programs that we're going to be like offering. So we're just in the planning stages right now and getting our dates together, but you'll get that information, put it on your calendar, and if able to take advantage of it, come out and join us. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Are there any other committee updates? All right, moving along to public comments. Tonight we do have a request addressing open session agenda items. Can we please have, let me read this, I'm so sorry. While meetings of the governing board are not public meetings, they are open to the public. Individual speakers will be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board will limit the total time for public input on each item to 21 minutes as per board bylaw 9322.2. All right, sorry. Can I have Mr. Louis Carrillo, please? Thank you for being here.
Good evening, Board. This is regarding Ernie Powell and the principal at Ernie Powell. It's going to need a whole lot more than 3 minutes because I believe our students deserve a whole lot more than that. When Ms. Cummings left, she left Ernie Powell as one of the best elementary schools around. When Ms. Gavilan came over, or Gavilanes came to us, I approached her and I told her, you got big shoes to fill. You know, everybody was happy, students, staff, parents, and in 1 year, okay, that school has gone down, big time. You know, teachers, good teachers have left. There's been morale that's gone down. Some of the teachers right now can't work with her. Obviously, she's not a team player. You know, we all believe it's all selfishness. You know, don't want to speculate that it's a power trip. She's going there, but it's a lot, and you can tell. You know, there's some teachers that have left this year. There's some teachers that don't like working with her now. You know, there's plenty. You know, there's teachers that are going over there to open back gates, no keys. You know, kids are out there in the heat, waiting for somebody to go over there. There's traffic going on in the back for the special need kids that, I don't know if you're familiar with Ernie Powell and the back gate. So now there's cars coming in and out. There's teachers out there playing traffic control. They're not certified for that. If a student gets hit, hey, that's not my job. I'm here to teach. I'm not here for traffic control. You know, she does off-the-wall stuff. She for special Christmas concerts, she takes her daughter to go sing. You know, we're there to see our kids, not hers. You know, the morale's down. The teachers, when the teachers are willing to be part of a team, everybody's happy. When they're not, it affects our students. It affects the community. It affects the parents. And we see all that. And hopefully you guys can see something that maybe we're not. And then, honestly, I'm here to see what we can do to remove her. If I need to come back and speak some more next week or whenever, I will. And I'm going to keep coming back because I feel that our community and our kids deserve a whole lot more than that. If she needs to be removed and get somebody, promote somebody that really cares with heart, then let's do so. We don't have to go to Beverly Hills or anywhere else to get a good education for our kids. We can get it here. It was happening before. Why should it stop? We're here for our kids, and that's it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. All right, tonight we're moving along to our public hearing. Our first public hearing is 11.1, a resolution, sufficiency of standards-aligned instructional materials for 2025-2026 grades TK to 12. Dr. Simon?
I don't think we have anything. No. I think we just read the script just to see if anyone has any public, if anyone wants to speak, they can come to the podium.
Oh, I was told by Mr. Srega we would have a presentation first, and then I would open it. Second one. You didn't say that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to open up this public hearing if anyone would like to speak. All right, hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing, and I'm going to open it up to my colleagues if anybody has questions or comments. All right, so Andrew, Mr. Srega, is this the one we're combining? I'm going to roll call then, yes? Awesome. All right, roll call, please.
Student Board Member Iwanyan Wu. Ms. Armstrong. Aye. Ms. Cintron.
Aye.
Mr. Critchfield.
Aye.
Mrs. Garza.
Aye.
Ms. Stewart.
Aye. All right, moving along to our next public hearing is 11.2, a public hearing to consider a resolution approving the mitigated negative declaration and adopting the mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the Mayfair Middle High School Athletic Field Improvements Project and approving the project. And there's a presentation.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Simon.
Thank you, and now I will turn it over to our General Counsel, Andrew Srega.
Thank you, Superintendent Simon. This evening, the board will consider the approval of the mitigated negative declaration as part of the CEQA process for the Mayfair Stadium project. This includes mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the project, as well as overall approval of the project. And this evening, Mr. Michael Milroy from Ultra Systems, who are the consultants that have been assisting us with this report, will go ahead and provide a presentation to the board and the community. Followed by a combination of major action under this item as well, which will basically be a vote by the board to approve it.
And board members, thank you for the invitation to speak to you tonight.
You can raise that if you want. Okay.
Sure.
I see your
Thank you. Thank you. So the existing conditions in and around the project site include a track with football, soccer field and bleachers, a baseball field, a softball field, a practice field, and along the right-hand side, within the red polygon, along the right-hand side of the red polygon, you can see the Palo Verde lateral storm channel. And the project site, is surrounded by the balance of Mayfair High School on the left, and then single-family residences on nearly the balance of the surrounding, and then Lindstrom Elementary School at the bottom right. Varsity football games are currently held at Bellflower High School Stadium, Ron Erie Stadium. The proposed project includes a new track and field with synthetic turf, new stadium bleachers with a capacity of 1,711, a new baseball field with dugouts and bleachers, a new softball field also with dugouts and bleachers, 2 new practice fields, a new restroom and concession building, and 2 new ticket booths. Now, the Palo Verde Lateral Storm Channel next to the east side of the campus, that is shown in the site plan here on the right side of the slide. That is shown as a surface parking lot. So the existing surface storm channel would be converted to an underground reinforced concrete double box culvert with a surface parking lot with 311 parking spaces built on top of the culvert. So the CEQA process, we started out in March of this year with several technical studies, including air quality and greenhouse gas analysis, biological resources, cultural resources, noise, and traffic. And we also started work on the initial study. Public participation included the initial study was circulated for public review between August 11th and September 10th. There was a community meeting on August 28th, and then the board hearing here tonight. The findings of the initial study included that impacts are less than significant with mitigation incorporated for biological resources, cultural resources, geology and soils, specifically paleontological resources, and tribal cultural resources. Impacts to all the rest of the environmental factors that are examined in an initial study were either less than significant or no impact. Aesthetics, agricultural resources, air quality, energy, greenhouse gas emissions, hazardous materials, hydrology and water quality, land use, mineral resources, noise, population and housing, public services, recreation, hazards and hazardous materials got moved around there somehow, transportation, utilities and service systems, and wildfire. Now we'll take a bit of a closer look at a few of those environmental factors. Regarding biological resources, there would be 35 green ash trees removed from the east side of the campus, and that is the pink area. You can see the Palo Verde Lateral Storm Channel immediately to the right, to the east of that pink area. Impacts to nesting birds would be significant without mitigation. The mitigation measure required is a pre-construction breeding bird survey, and impacts would be less than significant after mitigation. The trees would be replaced. The project planting plan includes 39 trees and over 400 shrubs. Noise impacts from operation of the proposed facilities would be less than significant. There would be no increase in the use of the facilities except for varsity football games transferred from Bellflower High School to Mayfair. There would be no increase in enrollment at Mayfair High School, and events would not be scheduled during the most noise-sensitive time of day, that is, after 10 p.m. Regarding transportation and related air quality and noise impacts, for a major event, the attendance currently at Ranieri Stadium at Bellflower High School is 880. The estimated attendance for a major event at Mayfair High School is 915. The net increase in attendance is 35. Net increase in vehicles is 11. For a minor event, the estimated attendance at a minor event at project completion is 60. Existing conditions estimated is 50. The net increase in spectators is 10. Net increase in vehicles is 7. Regarding spill lighting impacts from field lighting, there would be field lighting for the track and field, not for the baseball field or the soccer field. The highest spill light level is 0.42 foot candle along the east side boundary where you see the red arrow pointing. along Cane Hill Avenue. The threshold of significance for spill light is 0.8-foot candle, and the photograph there shows existing field lights at Ranieri Stadium. And that concludes my presentation.
And Board President, I also wanted to add that there was a letter submitted by the City of Bellflower, response to comments that we basically responded to their comments initially. They provided a response letter to that. The letter will be introduced into the record as well. And I believe Mr. Milroy had 2 answers to the questions that were posed in this letter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Thank you. So there were 2, and by the way, this was an error on our part. We did not the response to documents document that we sent to the City of Bellflower yesterday did not have responses to 2 of their comments. The first comment was about traffic impacts, specifically vehicles exiting the proposed parking lot. The exit driveway from the parking lot would be onto Allington Street. Allington Street. The comment asked whether there would be sufficient gaps in traffic on Allington for cars exiting from the parking lot. We believe there would be sufficient gaps for a few different reasons. The main reason being simply that major events at Mayfair would occur after the general peak hour, the general traffic peak hour. Also, there was a traffic count on Allington between Woodruff and Carpintero done last year by Newport Traffic Studies. They counted 12,184 vehicles per day. The capacity now, Allington, that segment of Allington is 4 lanes. The capacity of a 4-lane street is 5,600 vehicles per hour. So between those, for those 2 reasons, we believe there would be adequate traffic gaps on Allington for exiting vehicles. The second comment in the letter that the City of Bellflower submitted today was about noise impacts from speakers on the field light posts. And I had my noise manager at Ultra Systems do a bit of research on this topic today, and in studies of noise from speakers at stadiums at a few other high schools that he looked at. The noise in the residential neighborhoods next to the high schools was 15 to 20 A-rated decibels, or dBA. Now, A rating is decibels that are adjusted slightly to match the sensitivity of the human ear. 15 to 20 A-rated decibels above the noise levels without the events. The noise was in the low 70 decibel range in the neighborhoods, which is quite noticeable. The way to decrease the noise levels that the surrounding residents would hear would be to point the speakers toward the spectators in the stands and away from the surrounding neighborhoods. Now, Mr. Serega, we can easily add a project design feature. There's no reason even to add a mitigation measure. Tomorrow when I get to my office, I could add a project design feature. Would that be sufficient?
Yeah, and we're looking to basically address the concerns that have been raised. So in doing so, as long as the design of the project isn't substantially changed or materially changed, it wouldn't be an issue to address. So that is something that we will be doing to make sure that it addresses the concern that was expressed. With that being said, the report does total roughly 200 pages. It is a very comprehensive report. It has been available for the public to view for a period of at least 30 days. We have taken all the steps to try to address the concerns that have been raised, response to the comments. We do have legal counsel that have assisted us in this process as well. And so at this point, We present it to the board for your approval, and basically to allow this project to get underway. So that being said, it would be appropriate to open the public hearing at this time.
All right, so I'm going to open up the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of this? Seeing none, is there anybody that would like to speak against this? Is there anybody that would like to speak? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing, and I'm going to open it up to my colleagues if you have questions or concerns. And we're going to start with Clerk Critchfield.
Thank you, Madam President. I do have a question. I'll take advantage of the fact that you're here because I know you've looked at this a lot. Could you, with a element of precision, explain to me our school boundary along Cane Hill, where exactly the boundary of this project is and where our boundary is?
Okay, yes, actually. So the Palo Verde lateral storm channel that you see immediately next to Cane Hill Avenue there, that is Los Angeles County Flood Control District property. That's not actually district property. So but now, the storm channel is part of the project site because, again, part of the project is converting most of the storm channel. And when I say most of the storm channel, if you look at the site plan on the right side of the slide, you see the turnaround down at the south end of the parking lot. The turnaround is, and you can see actually immediately to the right of the turnaround, you can see a little bit of the storm channel extending down to the south end of that site plan. So, pardon me, that turnaround is actually, it's close to the edge of the track and field there along kind of the northern half of the east edge of that track and field. So let's see here now. I'm going to advance through. Okay, there. So there is the project site boundary. Now, there's one more thing I will mention. The kind of rectangle that extends across Ellington Street, that is we don't really expect that the project site is going to extend all the way across Ellington. That was to account for possible staging, so on and so forth. The project certainly does include construction of a driveway from a proposed parking lot onto Ellington Street.
Got it. With this slide here,
yeah.
I know you're not going to be able to zoom in as far as I would need, but so I understand the red line is the project boundary.
Yes.
My interest in asking the question is I know there's currently no walkway along Allington or along Cane Hill down, and I find it to be a safety thing. So the debate is really where is our boundary? I know that with the storm drain there, so does our boundary, our area of responsibility stop before the current waterway, and anything on the outside that would be city property, or is that sliver where the fencing is and where the roughage is along Cane Hill, is that our responsibility, or is that within our boundary? Like, where is our legal boundary? Does it extend over the waterway or not?
The current legal boundary does not, pardon me, the district's current property does not extend over the waterway.
Okay.
Now, but again, part of this project will be conversion of most of the storm channel there to an underground double box culvert.
Right.
The school boundary then would be extended eastward to include the parking lot.
Now, does that go all the way to the curb of Cane Hill? Because right now the waterway stops, then there's a chain link fence and about a 5-foot gap before you hit the curb. What my interest is that 5-foot gap where I think would be great for a walkway.
Right.
And it's more of just, how do we collaborate with the city and make that happen if it is city property or if it is our property? So does the project currently go all the way to the curb where the fencing for the parking lot would be next to the curb of Cane Hill, or is there still going to be that gap?
I don't know the answer to that, and that would be something for the district and the city of Lakewood discuss and
Okay, but you are saying that
Resolve.
once we do
Mhm.
once we cover the waterway with the parking lot, that it becomes like that is our new boundary.
Correct. The east edge of that parking lot, to my knowledge, will become the new district boundary there.
So that boundary, do you know how far away that is from the street?
I don't know.
Okay, is there a way we can get that?
Can we get Mr. Sorega really quickly? I know he wants to say something.
Yeah, so what we can do is we can basically survey the area and determine where the actual jurisdictional boundary lines lie to be able to determine whether that portion of potential walkway, sidewalk would fall within the jurisdiction of the district or with the city. But regardless, at that point, it could still be a collaborative engagement between the district and the city to be able to construct that to allow for more pedestrian access along the east side of Cane Hill.
Thank you.
And I don't have a way to answer this right at the moment. Perhaps, I don't know if Mr. Sorega, I don't have a computer with me, but on your computer, the LA County Assessor's Office has an online interactive map, and it's LA County Assessor, and it's PAIS. It's spelled just like país in Spanish. And it has a map of parcel boundaries, and it could be, you can zoom into it. You can get it won't tell you exactly how many feet from the curb the city's jurisdiction extends, but I mean, it's going to give you a fairly accurate picture of how far away from the curb the city's land extends.
Yeah, and again, this is something that I would have to do a little more research in, because the question would come into whether it's a city easement over that property, who actually owns the property. It's can get a little bit more technical, especially with the flood control channel there. So it's something that I'll have to get back to you on and give you an answer to.
I'd appreciate that.
I believe the architect wants to speak now on this or later now.
Mr.
Yeah.
Bender?
Okay.
And so Mr. Robert Bender is a part of this project. His firm is the one that drew the plans up and does have a strong degree of expertise with terms of the actual specifics of the construction of the project.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mrs. Stewart and Dr. Simon and the board staff and the board. To respond to some of the questions, particularly the one Mr. Brad brought up, not recently, the distance from the curb to the property line, which is the Mayflower High School property line, is 6 feet. There's a 6-foot right-of-way all along Cane Hill. That is a secondary right-of-way. It is not the city's position to put a sidewalk in any residential secondary right-of-way. So that is something the city would have to address and the city would have to answer. It is not district property. That's not something that you can go into and put a sidewalk in.
Great. No, that's exactly why I asked the question, because I do think that there's a need for it when it comes to safety of the kids walking to the elementary school at the end. Mm-hmm. So if we're doing all the construction, it might be a great opportunity to collaborate with the city, while all that's going on.
For the district to move into the right-of-way would require encroachment permits, would require additional traffic studies, additional expenditures of funds in order just to give the city the information that they would need to even partner with the district in providing a sidewalk.
I'm sorry, just for clarity, when you say go into the right-of-way, you're talking about going into the street?
No, the right-of-way is, the curb is in the street.
Yeah.
6 feet from the curb is the property line. That 6 feet is what's called right-of-way, but it's also called parkway. So
no, I'm talking about inside, so you're saying that, I'm talking about on this side of the curb. Right now, there's a 5-foot gap with a chain link fence.
Correct.
I'm talking about that. I'm not talking about going into where the cars would park or drive. I saw your email response, and I think that might be the confusion. I'm talking about on our side of the property.
On our side of the property. Yeah, on our side of the property, the curb is up against the fence. The fence
That's
is
all I
on
was
the
asking.
property line.
Thank you.
If there's any other questions of the board, I would appreciate it. I've worked with Mr. Milroy here on answering several questions and dealing with Andrew as well in trying to get this CEQA report accurate as possible. There's still some inaccuracies that I've seen, but I think we can overlook them for the time being.
Okay, thank you.
Andrew, anything else?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anything else from board members? So we're taking this into major action and we're going to vote, correct? I'm sorry. Okay, Vice President Garza, sorry.
It's okay. So the questions I have are, the first one would be, what safeguards are in place to ensure that this project doesn't disrupt existing instructional time or student safety during the 14 months of construction?
So with the construction, the entity who the award of the construction of the projects will go to will basically be required to maintain the safety of the construction area. That's within their responsibility. They will have certain protective measures put up to prevent students from crossing over into the construction area, as much as that's humanly possible, because I think we all know that sometimes people like to traverse into areas they're not supposed to, but while there's active construction going on the site, there will be individuals there monitoring, making sure that the students are safe, that they're not crossing over into the construction area. As far as disruption, the reality is there will be a degree of disruption because there will be machinery that's, on the property, building, constructing, and so on, but they are trying to keep that to a minimum, along with other factors such as, for example, dust, mitigating that impact, and so on and so forth. So that very much so falls upon the construction company to maintain that, along with the project manager who will be overseeing the project as a whole, and both those items are on your agenda tonight as well under consent.
So the people who will be standing in front of that project to make sure that our students don't walk into that area, will those be, do we know if those will be our employees or will they be the construction employees?
It will be from the construction company. If I can give you an example, when they do road work and they set up, cones to protect the workers that are working in the area, they generally have someone there monitoring to make sure that traffic is actually going around those cones to ensure the safety of the workers in that area. Similarly, there will be individuals there to make sure that any construction that's going on is not impacting the school itself and that the students aren't crossing over into the construction zone, along with fencing and so on.
Perfect, thank you. So next question is, how will construction over the 14 months be phased to avoid disruption of instruction and athletic programs?
So there will be athletic programs that will be disrupted during the construction of this project. Currently it's phased as the construction of the actual stadium and fields will take place first because there's a moratorium on building in the flood control channel area until April 15th of next year. So we can only build in that area between April 15th and October 15th. Accommodations will need to be made for the various athletic programs that generally use these fields. This includes baseball, soccer, football I know plays at Bellflower High School, but the district will have to be able to find scheduling and space available to accommodate those other sporting programs.
And Vice President Carter, if I can add to Mr. Sorrega's comment, we have been working with the athletic director, the principal, and staff in regards to finalizing a schedule, right, for teams that are going to be impacted. Dr. Ryan Smith, our deputy superintendent, has taken over those meetings to ensure that we are moving in place. And we know that October 1st, if the board approves this today, we'll move forward with scheduling and moving those sports teams to a different location.
Thank you for that information. My next question is, are there projected ongoing maintenance and operation costs with this project?
all the costs that are within the project are part of the construction budget. So the maintenance FMOT director, Patrick Turner, is being brought along on the project walk. We'll be working right alongside the project manager that we're hoping is approved tonight. And we will, come against any maintenance or operational things that we have to take care of while the project is ongoing.
Thank you. My next question is there a clear communication plan for residents to raise concerns during the construction and future operations?
So in terms of a structured, comment or complaint area, that's something that the district will have to develop at this point. Again, with regard to the CEQA, it's just specific to the mitigated actions that need to be taken to allow this project to move forward as construction unfolds. That's certainly something that if residents have an issue, we welcome them to come in and let us know so that we can address those issues. Construction on a scale like this does have some impact to surrounding areas, as we all know, whatever they may be. But the goal is to allow them an avenue to be able to make those concerns known to us so that we can address them either with the project manager or the construction company. At this time, I cannot say that there's a link set up on the website, although that's something that we can certainly look into. But yeah, whatever concerns or complaints or comments come in, they will be addressed by the district.
And that's easy for us to set up an email for the project manager to respond to concerns by our community.
Okay, thank you so much. I'd be very interested in seeing that when it comes up. Thank you. I believe those are all my questions. Thank you so much.
And Clerk Critchfield?
Thank you. First of all, thank you to both of you gentlemen and staff for working so hard on this. I know it's been a couple years in the making, and I appreciate all the work to get us to this point. I think it's really, really an important step in this whole process, obviously. I do have one question. So I'm a visual learner. When it comes to, I know all of the plans are great and really tell us what's going to happen, but how it's going to look and how we're going to make it, brand it and how it's actually going to look. At what point of this process can this board get renderings of what is actually going to be constructed for this project? Like I don't know who catches that ball in the different capacities, but who does, for projects, do you create a rendering? You got one of those big signs you put up and say, hey, coming soon, this is what we're going to look at? Or I know some companies have like video renderings and they get all fancy. Who does that?
The architect's responsibility for this particular project, though. The scope of the rendering that we provided was that site plan that is currently published on the district website. We didn't get into 3D renderings as it was a sports field. There was no buildings involved, and only bleachers were really the major part of the construction and the stadium. I can go back and we can look at the possibility of providing some kind of a rendering from the 3D graphics that we have prepared.
That's something I would be interested in. I don't know if the rest of the board, and I know I was looking through the old plans, just last night. I know it's evolved a lot since when it was first discussed, but I would be very interested in getting some visual plans.
Yeah, typically what we would do, there's a project site sign that's built into the contract right now with the general contractor that he's to provide. The project identification sign will contain an image. Right now it was planned to just provide the same image that is on the district website, but that's typically where a rendering of a future project would go. Unfortunately, we haven't generated a rendering for the future project in that, like we did for STEAM, we did a significant amount of renderings,
right.
But for this project we didn't.
Yeah, because I'm curious, because even like the concession stands, the different buildings that are going to be up, like, are we going for the STEAM building look? We're going for old school look? we don't know what it's actually going to look like.
Well, I personally did my own 3D renderings when I was designing the concessions building, so I have my own documents that I created. It's not something that was published, though, or not something that was created in a presentation format.
Got it.
Just really design hand sketches. So I can visualize it in 3D. So it's very easily to possibly take what we've already prepared and put it into a 3D format.
Okay.
And colorize it possibly for the district, giving you a bird's eye perspective of maybe what the entire project's going to look like.
Yeah, because I mean, I think was it St. Joseph's, the one off of Clark there. Like they kind of had similar bleachers, but it's branded. Like the colors. It's very, that school. I think it'd build a lot of excitement for the community to see, the good work that's going to be done. Yeah. I'd be interested in if that conversation could happen, or if anybody else is interested in it.
Oh, that's something that I could work out with Dr. Simon and Ms. Arcus. See if we can come up with a quote or a presentation that would go to the board and possibly be placed on that identification sign for the public knowledge.
Cool. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, so that is moving us along to our major action 12.1. Can I get a motion to approve item 12.1?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Student Board Member Iwanwanyu.
Aye.
Ms. Armstrong. Aye. Ms. Cintron.
Aye.
Mr. Critchfield.
Aye.
Mrs. Garza.
Aye.
Ms. Stewart.
Aye. All right, so moving along to our next major action item, 12.2, resolution of intent to consider future bond measure. Dr. Simon?
So this resolution was brought forth to the board with the intention of considering a future bond an election and resourcing the investigation of a potential bond measure. So if you're open to a future bond, this is a resolution that will allow you to move forward and do so.
Any questions or comments from board members?
Yes, I have one.
Go ahead.
I would, so the intent for a future bond measure, I would love to have a bond measure put on there, but what I would want the staff to work on, the cabinet, is to really have a, I want some defined projects. I want the vision. I don't want to, I'm not willing to present blind aspirations to the public. I want to know what the money would be spent on. I do not want to put the cart before the horse, because see, our constituents and our community, they will ultimately be the payers of this. So they are really going to have an input on what they're willing to spend money on, and it's going to it's going to be generational. So I would love for you guys to have a plan, and I'm not talking about a master's facility plan. I'm talking about, hey, what can we do? Honestly, that's what I want. I need something that's going to be concrete.
Can we get Mr. Sarega in real fast, please?
Yes, so the district is currently working on a facilities master plan, which will be the document that is used to identify projects that are most in need of the bonding measure. If the board wants specific projects on that bond, in particular, exactly where the money is going to be used for, that's certainly a possibility. It's never really recommended, because between the time that decision is made and the time the bond proceeds are actually dispersed, a lot of things can change. So that's why generally on bond measures you have a kind of scope of projects that you're looking at, or areas that you're looking to enhance. So I would recommend not going into necessarily specific, but focusing on the areas where you're looking to improve the districts in terms of facilities.
Did you have
Thank
another
you.
comment? Go ahead.
No, that's good, because we need a scope. If we want to go and change the facade on all the schools, that's fine. You know, whatever it might be. You know, if you talk to some community partners, they may have a grand idea. You know, like myself, I mean, we don't have a pool. You know, it would be great to have a swimming pool, but you know, there lies, you know, a conversation. You know, so that's all. I want to, you know, let's do something really good with this money that we're gonna want. So yeah, no, I know for a fact, yeah, Andrew, we can't have everything like, oh, we're gonna do A, B, and C, but let's have a focus, not just the master's. Yeah, you do the master's facility plan, yeah, and derive from there what we really want. That's all I'm saying, and you'll have my support.
Vice President Garza.
Thank you, Madam President. Can you remind us what is the process in going out for this bond? What comes first? What comes next? So that way, for myself, just a kind of refresher, and then also for our public, please.
So generally with the bond process, much like last time, we will engage bond counsel, who will present to the board different aspects of the bond, the amounts that you're looking to put on the measure, and basically kind of go through all the details of what that entails. After which time the board will have to pass a resolution to put the bond measure on the ballot. That requires a 4/5 vote. And after that, it's basically just generally working with bond counsel to go through some of the educational process for the community. The district can't engage in campaigning necessarily for the bond, but can provide educational material for the community members, especially when it comes to what the bond proceeds would be used for. So the process it can be pretty condensed if you're running on a quick timeline, but as opposed to the previous year, we do have a lot more time now to be able to engage the community, to get input, to get feedback. This is just the first step in starting that process. So at this point, the resolution of intent basically starts the engagement of bond counsel and that process of going through some of the public hearings, some of the presentations up to the resolution, and then the educational campaign.
May I ask one more question? Thank you. So where in that process can you tell us that facilities report would be?
So that
Master
report
plan.
that report is forthcoming. Certainly, I wouldn't recommend that we jump straight to the resolution to place the bond measure on the ballot without having that report in place. So my goal is that by the end of the year, that'll be ready to go, and that'll allow us enough time to be able to actually go through the bond process in a very deliberate manner.
Which is what we're doing right now, correct? That's why we're working on that.
And just to add to that, I would like to ask our deputy superintendent to respond.
Happy to, and just to build upon Andrew's answer. So essentially, the resolution tonight is giving direction to staff to kick the process off to prepare things and put things in order for the board to make an informed decision about putting a bond measure on the ballot in November 26th. So what would happen, assuming some of the items are passed by the board this evening, is we would begin the facilities master planning process, which would probably take 5-6 months, perhaps somewhere in that neighborhood. We would also engage in some community polling, which is also quite important. The last time the board went through this, they engaged True North polling specifically to kind of gauge community feeling, input, that kind of thing as far as support for a bond measure. All of those things would come into play. Ideally, Mr. Suriga is absolutely correct. We do have much more time. Last time we did this, we went right to the kind of the wire in August, I think, was when the actual ballot measure or the resolution came to the board. Ideally, we'd like to have something before the board late April, May, somewhere in that neighborhood. It could get pushed back a little bit, could be pushed forward, just depends on kind of the ebb and flow of the process leading up to that point. Part of the facilities master planning process is to help also inform a project list, if you will, that would also be part of the process for the bond initiative.
I'm sorry, really quickly. Carrie, can you turn off the podium, please? There's so many on here right now. It's really difficult. And I'm going to go to Kurt Critchfield. Thank you so much. Oh, she got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. So having kind of gone through this process last time, I feel, so I love the energy that Ms. Armstrong brings to it, like, because we want everybody to support this and we feel like we need to have something really shiny. But I remember when we did the polling with True North last time, it was actually the things that were pretty, I don't want to say boring, but very, it was like repairing the ACs, repairing the roofs. It was things that were safety oriented that pulled the highest, because I think we got to give our community credit that they understand that facilities age and our facilities are old. So I do like the idea of visioning and all that, but I think having gone through the process before, I think there is a lot of community support for this, and we're not starting off at zero, because even though the last facilities master plan that I was looking through the other night, I think it was in 23, it wasn't as thorough as we want, and we're going to do this time. But there was $36 million in just like the level 1 category, which is all safety category. There's things that we're spending on that we could have been addressing just a couple years ago or last year or right now. So there's plenty in just that safety category. And then the total of all the 5 categories of that was recommended in the bond, the facilities master plan last time was like $160 million. So I would, just say that I know in a non-presidential year, bonds, are a little less popular. But I think it's really important that we communicate with the community that it really is in need and it's for their students, and we have to, do a lot of the things that may not be as shiny, but I think it is good to dream big and create new opportunity for our students. But I think we're on the right track, and I know we're ahead of the ball this time, and I just hope that we can all together inform the community and get the support that we need so this passes, because we really do need it.
I definitely would be in favor of this. Obviously, last time I was in favor of this. And for me, it's not really about the bond. It's about giving our voters the chance to voice their opinions. It's about our community. We can put it on the ballot and they cannot pass it. But at the end of the day, we should give our community members the choice. And last time we didn't. And I regret that. And I feel like they should have the choice. So I would be in support of this as well. Board Member Cintron.
Thank you. I actually want to piggyback off your comment because I absolutely agree with you. Being one of the parents in the community that supported the bond the last time, very engaged in the process with the surveys and with the forums, I was very disappointed that the people on the dais before, not all, it just didn't pass. So this one, I think all of us will. Let me rephrase. I think by having such a strong bond that can address our facilities and the student needs and satisfy exactly what we need, I'm for this bond 100%. I was before and I still am. So thank you for bringing it forward.
Anybody else? All right, can I get a motion to approve item 12.2?
You have a motion?
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Student Board Member Iwan-Yan Wu.
Aye.
Ms. Armstrong. Aye. Ms. Cintron.
Aye.
Mr. Critchfield.
Aye.
Mrs. Garza.
Aye.
Ms. Stewart.
Aye. All right, so moving along to our next and last major action item, 12.3, Black Knight Patrol Security Services Contract. Dr. Simon.
Thank you. I will now hand this over to our General Counsel, Andrew Sarega.
Thank you, Dr. Simon. This evening, the board will be looking at the contract for Black Knight Security, Black Knight Patrol Security Services. Since the last meeting where this item was discussed and direction was given to develop a contract, I have met with Black Knight Patrol, gone over the terms of the agreement, reached an agreement that they have executed and agreed to. At this point, the board approving it would allow the contract to move forward. Since that time, we have also met with district security personnel and Black Knight Patrol to discuss some issues, some concerns that were brought up. And I do want to make clear, because I did promise I would, it was not a negotiation. So that's not what the scope of that meeting was. It was basically to engage Black Knight Patrol, have district security personnel ask questions, try to get a better understanding of operationally how things would look, roles and responsibilities, things of that nature. The discussion, I think, was productive. A lot of questions were asked, and a lot of things were addressed, such as, for example, how they would communicate. And it was discussed in that meeting that Black Knight Patrol would also have district radios so that they can hear and kind of understand what's going on inside the campus. If there's need for aid, they can address that immediately. So just general topics such as that. Moving forward, if the contract is approved, there will need to be more meetings between district security personnel and Black Knight Patrol, who have yet to select the individuals that will be serving in the capacity of security guards at these school sites. But once that selection is made, those individuals will be able to meet and get together and discuss operationally how things will look. And you know, there's a process to unfolding something like this when you're adding a new element into the security service of the district. But that being said, the contract itself has been prepared for the board's approval. And if you have any questions regarding the terms or anything that's in that contract, I am more than happy to answer them.
Colleagues, any questions, comments? Or Vice President Garza.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to say this is, from what I can tell, I'm not a lawyer, but it really is a really good contract. I am very happy with it. Thank you so much for working on it, Council. And I'm all for it.
Board Member Cintron?
I do have a few questions. So my first question is just to kind of get, I know there still needs to be discussions and there still needs to be a lot of work after this. But I think my questions go to what the idea and the concept and the theory behind this would be. So please keep that in mind when I ask this. How will Black Knight coordinate with our existing district security staff and staff administrators to ensure clear communication to avoid overlap and confusion during critical incidences on our campuses?
Yeah, so the matter was brought up in the meeting that was had, and again, I think the kind of quick answer that was arrived at was the fact that they would be using district radios to be able to communicate. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, there was a question posed regarding how would that communication take place. For example, generally in law enforcement, you have radio codes that you use to communicate things that are going on. Black Knight Patrol does use radio codes if needed. They also use plain English wherever needed. So this is one of those things where they would have to get with district security staff and figure out what the system of communication is within the district, if they do use radio codes, or if they use radio codes that are different from the ones that typical law enforcement agencies would use. That being said, it really is about allowing the two entities to come together to figure out what's most effective for them, because the goal is to enhance and provide additional kind of help to current district security staff with the overall goal of making the security in our district and our school sites safer. So yeah, in terms of communication, radio is generally the most optimal way to be able to communicate when people are not within hearing distance or even shouting distance of each other.
Okay, thank you. My next question is, what are the measurable outcomes or benchmarks of the district can expect from the contract in terms of improving school safety. So do we have any measurable benchmarks from now until 6 months down the line to the end of the contract, since it is a one-year contract?
Yeah, so I think, discussions were had. What needs to be done is you need to create a baseline of what's currently in place, number of incidents, response to those incidents, outcomes, things of that nature, to be able to kind of have something to gauge on, at least, in terms of numbers or tangible information. The reality is a lot of it also is going to come down to community feedback, student feedback. How do they feel about the additional security presence? Is it something that's enhancing their educational opportunity? Do parents feel safer sending their students to school? These are all things that we will have to collect throughout this year to ascertain if this program has been beneficial for the district or if it has not. These are processes that we will set up and are going to put in place to be able to elicit feedback from not only students and staff, but the community as well. And ultimately, at the end of the year, our goal is to compile all that information and provide a comprehensive report to the board as to how this year has unfolded with these new services.
Thank you. You did answer my next question, so feedback was my next question, but you answered that. My last question, and I do have some words after. What opportunities, and I know it does say it in the contract, but I want to just say it out loud for community members to hear it and understand it a little bit more better. So what opportunities exist for the district to build capacity by having Black Knight providing training to our own security staff so that long term we can move forward into the in-house model so we don't necessarily have to continue this contract down the line?
Yeah, so in that capacity, there's really two types of training that you can receive. One is formal and one is informal. Informal is generally interactions between Black Knight Patrol security guards and our district security on a day-to-day basis. Things that come up, discussions that they have, debriefing incidents, things of that nature, kind of looking back at what could have been done better. Those are informal types of training that will naturally take place throughout the school year. More formal approaches, such as a number of hours in training on arrest and control techniques or de-escalation techniques, things of that nature. That's a service that Black Knight Patrol does provide. However, at this time, we've felt that it would be best to allow district staff to kind of build that relationship, that rapport with the security guards from Black Knight Patrol, and they can work together to kind of identify what areas they would like training in, or if any, and then Black Knight will be able to step in and provide that training to district security personnel. Again, we leave that up to them to decide where they feel it would best fit what they're trying to do, and that's, basically enhance safety within the school campus sites. So at this time, I can't say specifically what those programs will be because that's a discussion that will be had at a later time.
Okay, but but what you're saying is that it's able to be customized to our needs based on the campus.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for answering my questions. So I don't have any more questions, but I do have a statement that I think it's better written than me just doing it off the cuff. So again, I just want to thank the cabinet for all the hard work that you have done to make sure that this contract is appropriate for our district and the input that has been given by our staff, students, and families. It's a very important issue. And I want to be clear that the safety of our students and staff is and will continue to be my top priority. I also understand the concerns that have been expressed about how armed security may impact our school environment. This contract represents a temporary but necessary step in addressing urgent safety needs on our campuses. That said, it is not the final solution. I see that this is an opportunity for our district to gather feedback, to monitor closely how these services are carried out, and to hold Black Knight accountable to the highest standard of professionalism and student-centered practice. My hope is that over time we can move forward in building our own in-house team of highly trained professionals, individuals who see this work as a career dedicated to keeping our campuses both safe and welcoming. In the meantime, I want to stress that this measure is about enhancing the support we already have, not diminishing the important role our district security staff play each day. As we move forward, I will be looking for clear accountability, transparency, and regular opportunities for our students, staff, and families to provide feedback on this partnership. Safety cannot come at an expense of trust, and I believe we can and we must have both. So thank you so much. That's all from me. Thank you.
Board Member Armstrong.
Yeah, I just have a question. Are we planning to negotiate with CSEA, and if so, when, about this matter?
So that's basically a discussion that we'll need to have with CSEA and figure out timeline and kind of go from there. At this point, there's nothing on calendar to complete that.
Okay, thank you.
Student Board Member.
I don't know if this was mentioned. I remember hearing about feedback, and I don't know if this was specifically mentioned, but what would be the ways that feedback would be collected?
So I think the most apt way is to allow certain forms to be available both online and in physical print at the school sites where individuals could leave feedback. Another way of kind of gathering data and feedback is any information that school site administrators or any district staff receive would have to be relayed to, the new security manager position that, if approved today, would be created, and they would be responsible for making sure that any comments or concerns or, even praises that are raised are all collected so that it can be documented to be provided back to the board in that comprehensive report. In terms of other types of feedback, realistically, other than creating opportunities for people to leave feedback, there's very little we can do to actually solicit that without putting out a survey, which if the board would like to do, we can do at certain intervals. Just send out surveys to the students, to the staff, to the community, and collect the results of those and be able to actually provide an analysis of the feedback that we've gotten from the respondents. So there's a couple different options that we have. I think the most basic one is to provide a place where people can go to leave feedback. A more comprehensive one would probably be to do a couple surveys throughout the year to kind of get that feedback as best we can.
And another question, when do you expect this to be implemented onto the campuses?
So the target date was or is October 1st. That being said, it could very well get delayed by a couple weeks just to allow the individuals selected by Black Knight Patrol, in conjunction with input from the district as well, to allow them time to meet with district campus security, acclimate themselves to the campuses, and basically allow for as much preparation before they are actually physically on campus. A conservative estimate would probably be mid-October to the end of October, but the goal has always been October 1st.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, I'm going to start with my questions. My first question is, can you remind the public what exact licenses, training, and certification these guards will have, please?
Yes, so guards have BSIS guard license, BSIS baton permit, tear gas OC certification, taser certification, CPR first aid certification, and BSIS exposed firearm license, and that's only for the armed security guards. In terms of training, they do receive 4 hours of powers to arrest, 4 hours of use of force and de-escalation, 4 hours of observation and documentation, 4 hours of public relations, 2 hours sexual harassment prevention, 2 hours documentation and report writing, 2 hours handling difficult people, 2 hours crowd management and control, and then in accordance with SB 1626, which is state law, and kind of within that purview is school security guard training. They do receive a total of 24 hours, of which 4 hours are role and responsibility of school security officer, 8 hours laws and liability, 3 hours security awareness and educational environment, 4 hours mediation conflict resolution, 1 hour disasters and emergencies, 3 hours of dynamic student behavior, and they are tested at the end through an examination that they have to pass.
So it sounds like they have a lot of in-depth training, and it sounds like they do a lot, yes?
So
From what I'm hearing you say, there's a lot of hours of training.
Yes, and that's part of the whole goal, is to be able to have individuals that have this level of training, you know, that could actually come onto or be present on the campuses, which the goal is to enhance the capabilities of our own security staff in the overall goal of maintaining school safety.
And school safety is really important. My question is, with this being so important, they do all of this training, why do they not have any protection or insurance against sexual abuse or molestation?
So as was stated, that aspect of the contract was asked for, and in the negotiations, a price was given that would have cost an additional approximately $40,000 for that insurance. The kind of compromise that was reached was that with their general liability insurance and their professional liability insurance, any incidents would be able to be covered under those policies. And there was also a discussion as to how those sexual and assault molestation cases generally come into play. And yes, it's been a very big problem for schools as of recent due to change in state law that allowed individuals who failed to file government tort claims on time to actually be able to file those kind of retroactively. And some go back as far as 30, 40 years. And those are the ones that have led to a lot of the major settlements, amounts for settlements that have originated from those sexual abuse and molestation cases.
You would think with all those laws and them opening up that would be something that they would really want to have, wouldn't you? Because I know you told me that it would be recommended, that this would be recommended, that these companies have that, and we all watch the news and we see sexual abuse and molestation cases. So it would be recommended, but for this contract, we decided not to take our own recommendations.
So it was the contract that was basically negotiated and what's being brought before the board today. Certainly if that is an issue that the board cannot, accept or move forward from, there's no obligation to approve the contract. Yes. It's just the best one that was presented given the negotiations and circumstances of this current contract being put before the board.
It seems like we're going to see if this board wants to take a contract without sexual protections for our children. My next question is, if the armed guard goes on campus, what will they do with their firearms? So I'm going to give you a few of these. I just would like maybe a general summarization. Are there specific guidelines when they can pull their firearms out? When do they decide to go on campus? If there's a lockdown, do they go on? If there's an active shooter, do they go on? If there's just fights on campus, do they go on? And again, if we could get just a short description of what they would do in each situation.
So as far as critical incidents, for example, active shooter, they would go onto campus and they would address the threat. If there's a fight on campus, we had this discussion in that meeting, it would be up to district security personnel to call for, or site administrators, to call for assistance from Black Knight Patrol. They will not, on their own accord, go into the campus for a fight unless they are asked for via the radio. And trying to think the other scenario that you put
just when would they decide to go on campus? Like, I know you just gave me active shooter, and I know you gave me if there are fights, but when does that security guard decide I'm going on campus or I'm not going on campus? In what situations?
So the only situation which they would go onto campus without being asked onto campus is that of a critical incident, which would be an active shooter, or any incident that you have a threat to life. Other than that, every other situation that I can think of at this time would have to be them being asked to come on. Otherwise, they will not make entry on their own accord.
And another thing was that we talked about our CSCA working with, them, and they were really comfortable, I was told, but it didn't sound like they were very comfortable when they spoke tonight. But I know we said that my question was, what will we be able to do with working with staff on roles and responsibilities? And I was told that we haven't really got there yet, and we will basically get through everything, and we will see what happens.
So in terms of roles and responsibilities, the responsibility of Black Knight Patrol has been basically told to them that they are responsible for patrolling the perimeter of the school campus sites. So that includes during school hours when students are in school and there's not much going on. They patrol the perimeter, look for suspicious vehicles, individuals loitering about. Again, they're always prepared to answer any calls that come from district staff inside the campus that request assistance. They're going to be there for when school lets in and lets out to assist with that, and basically just general patrol functions throughout the day as needed. If site administrators would like a specific area to be patrolled at a certain time because they've had associated problems, that's when they would let Black Knight Patrol, hey, this area is been a bit of a problem for us. We'd like you to patrol that area at these times. Unfortunately, those things generally tend to come up as this program is already unfolding. As much as possible, we're going to try to have those meetings to kind of address the issues at the specific school sites beforehand. But the reality is things come up from time to time, and that's where they have to be fluid and be able to assist wherever they're needed. So the reality is things come up, and we are going to analyze the shortcomings as they come with armed guards with weapons. That's what I'm being told? Or is that what I'm hearing? Yeah, I understand, though. These individuals are armed, yes, but they do have training in using those firearms and when to use them, not to use them, as was described earlier in the training that they receive. I mean, yeah, if the board wants to go unarmed, that's certainly a possibility, an opportunity. That's just direction to me, and I'm more than happy to go back out and request unarmed. It was asked of me specifically.
This contract is from the board, and I understand that, and it's for armed security, so that's what we're discussing. I understand all their training. I just want our public to know that we are going to address the shortcomings as they arrive, correct? Because that's what I was told as a board member, and I just want to make sure that that's accurate.
Yeah, those are specific to the instances that cannot be addressed ahead of time because they cannot be predicted ahead of time.
And we also agree that we did meet and we discussed with our CSEA, but negotiations have not taken place on this contract, and we do not know how they will interact in different situations, correct?
So negotiations have not taken place. I do want to be very clear about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But discussions were had regarding roles and responsibilities and interactions in more or less hypothetical situations. But, in the hour that we had there, we discussed everything we could within that time frame.
Correct. So we spent 1 hour having discussions with CSCA about armed guards, and we don't have definitive answers on the exact roles and responsibilities of all of the hypotheticals that we may see.
And I will say
yes or no. Yes, right? I'm trying to get to the point of it.
I can't speak to every hypothetical, and they were
correct.
Certainly not
I'm just
all
talking about the meeting. We had a 1 hour meeting about something as big as this. I just want to make sure our public understands what we're voting on tonight. Thank you. My next question is, what will they be doing when they are not before and after school? So when the students are on campus, what will they be doing?
So again, their role will be patrolling the perimeter of the campus and addressing areas that have been identified as a concern by site administrators, looking out for suspicious vehicles, individuals loitering in the area, and realistically, being on standby for any calls for assistance that they get from campus security inside the campus.
The next question I got from community member is, are the bullets normal bullets? Are they non-lethal bullets? What type of rounds would they be using?
So bullets in the firearm are lethal bullets. Generally, hollow point bullets are used because with full metal jacket or other type bullets, you have penetration issues. Hollow point allows the bullet to not exit the body, so you don't have any potential for collateral damage. And again, it is a firearm at the end of the day. The goal is to never have to use it, but only use it when it's necessary to preserve life.
Okay, those were really all my questions. I have a statement at the end, but I do want to say that in hearing CSCA and talking with their executive cabinet myself, I do feel that it's very disingenuous to tell us as a board that they were very comfortable with that discussion, because they were not. So I would just like to say that publicly as well. Clerk Critchfield?
Thank you. Just for clarification, in their presentation, there's a integration period, right? So when the contract starts, there's a period where they do the more discussions and collaborating before they actually start their patrols or start doing the job, correct?
That is correct.
And the board knew that, right?
It was in the presentation for
Right.
Bucknet, correct.
Thank you. This conversation's been unfolding for years. For me, it's a step forward to making our campuses safer, but it's just one step. And I think in pushing for just this one step and actually taking action after so many years of discussion, I think it's uncovered and shed light on other areas that can be better. And I don't know if that light would have been shed unless we were having this discussion. So I think it's really important to note these conversations and all of these things that we're kind of saying as reasons not to do something, we wouldn't even be talking about them unless we were talking about this contract. So I think there's a lot of good that comes out of saying, hey, we're going to focus on school safety, which we say is a top priority, and actually have something on the agenda where we can discuss it. So I think it's been a good opportunity to hear opinions and talk about that. And on that, I mean, just last week, the Personnel Commission took it to their attention and looked at the job descriptions. And I want to say thank you to Dr. Smith and Dr. Amos because I saw the revisions in the job descriptions. I think they're much more clear. I think it's really good work. And also in developing a new position as security manager to improve. It's all about support for our students. For me, this doesn't go beyond what should be a uniting thing of just student safety. My interest in this contract doesn't stop at this contract. I think that a lot of the things and a lot of the points that my colleagues are making are very good points, and we need to address those too. And I'm just as passionate about fixing those things as I am taking a first step. So even with the differing perspectives, which I do appreciate, my vote is rooted in the simple truth that families deserve to know that their children are safe when they go to school. And I want to be clear that my support reflects a commitment to creating the learning environments where safety really is one, and we're able to show it in our budget, and we're able to show it in our action, we're able to show it in our conversations. So I'm supportive of this. I know that there's been debate and there's different perspectives, and I think that's fine. But I don't think there's a person in this room that doesn't think student safety isn't important. I think we all have different opinions on it, and that's great. And I think these conversations need to keep happening and see how we can do even better and recalibrate and reevaluate regularly and get better reporting and get everybody on the same page of how we do it. But I am proud that we're actually taking a first step after so long. But again, that's all it is, and we're going to grow from this together.
Vice President Garza?
Thank you, Madam President. I want to piggyback on what my colleague, board member Critchfield, is saying. I agree. None of us ever wanted to make this decision. It is not an easy decision to make as a board member. You have a bad option, and then you have a worse option. At this point, we kind of have to pick our poison. And right now, it is very important that we are able to secure our campuses outside their perimeter as well. I know that although there was a very large news story last week that actually also speaks to why we were doing this, there was another story that I think should have been highlighted as well. There has also been another attack on another school where 3 students were injured. And I, as a teacher, right now, I can tell you that I fear every single day that I go on my campus and that I have to be the one to be in the middle of my students. And whoever, if ever, God forbid, anyone comes into my classroom, I know I would do that. My family knows that. I have had a conversation with them so they understand what I would do for those kids. So please do not misunderstand that by us saying this and asking for us to go forward on this, that we do not understand what we are asking of our staff and of our teachers. But we do not want our teachers to be the ones to be placing themselves between our kids and that shooter, if that ever happens. It should be somebody who knows what to do, so they do it outside, not inside. That should never, ever happen in our campuses. And I also want to address that by us voting for this does not mean that we are okay with perhaps, if it does happen, for sexual harassment to happen on our campuses. We will be vigilant, and there will be processes and prosecution if that happens ever at all. We hope, again, that that never does occur. But this is what we're looking at right now, and believe me, I have looked at all of those things. We have. And it's not an easy decision to make, at least not for me. I don't want to speak for anybody else on this board. But I go into that classroom every day knowing that that could happen to me if anybody decides to do that.
Student board member.
Thank you, Madam President. I completely agree with what the members of the board have been saying, that this is not the best first step, but is a first step nonetheless to ensuring the safety of students. However, I do feel like I think there should be an added level of, I guess, accountability for the security. Because being a Mayfair student, I was there when one of our security got arrested for allegations. So in regards to that, will the security be mandated or equipped with body cameras?
So they do have body cameras that they do deploy, and specifically for this role, they have body cameras that they will wear to be able to document things that take place.
Thank you.
I have another question for staff. Before tonight, has anybody or any board members ever asked for any information to see how many issues we've had outside of our campuses? Just for a baseline, just to see where we were at before we made this decision?
No, we have not, Madam President.
Thank you. I'm going to read my statement when I vote no, but obviously I'm voting no. My biggest reason is we've sat here for 3 meetings now, not one. Please, everybody understand, not one person has come up to this podium and spoke in favor of having armed guards. And again, the needs of our students were to get security on campus, and I support our community because that's what they've asked for. And I've never seen any email come across my desk or across my email as a board member talking about being afraid of active shooters and things like that. I have seen vaping, tardies, academic achievement, bathroom issues, fighting, parents getting onto campus. And again, none of this will mitigate any of that. So I'm listening to my community, and I will not be supporting this. Is there any other comments before we take a vote? Can I get a motion to, go ahead, sorry, Clerk Critchfield?
I will say that I personally have had a lot of conversations where people are supportive, and I think that people are concerned with safety, especially in today's world, and I've heard a lot of support. So I do appreciate the optics of maybe those parents don't come to the board meeting and say something, but I would say, I think everybody on this dais has conversations and is representing their community. So I just want to say that.
And I appreciate that. Just my community that I've spoken with, they're not in favor of this. Board Member Armstrong.
Yeah, I just want to add, although all 5 of my children have graduated from the Bellflower schools, I still have family members that attend the schools from the north to the south. And one of my nieces, she has a kid. I'm not going to say what school, but when I told her what was happening, she was like, well, you know, Auntie, I just don't know how I feel about that, about having the armed guards. So I'm not going to chew my cabbage twice, because if you listen to the board meetings, you know exactly why I would love to have more security on campus, because there's so many other ways we could mitigate things or issues. So, and then again, I feel for my CSEA staff also. So, there are a lot of people in the community, and so we all have differing opinions, and I'm just representing what I know.
And one more thing I'd like to add is I know we have had, since I've been on this board, a few gun issues where we've had guns, but I just want to say that one ended up not being a real gun. One ended up being in a backpack where if we had the weapon recognizer, it wouldn't have got on campus in the first place. And the other one was in a trash can and never got on campus as well. So, go figure. And then just my last comment is I understand that we can work around, I love those words, work around not having insurance for sexual molestation and abuse. But at the end of the day, to me, a company that works with kids, that works with school districts, they would already have that in place, and that's a huge red flag for me. If they don't have that in place, I would be questioning what they're doing. Are there any other comments? All right, can we get a motion to approve 12.3?
Motion to approve.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Student Board Member Iwan Yanwu.
Aye.
Ms. Armstrong.
No.
Ms. Cintron.
Aye.
Mr. Critchfield.
Yes.
Mrs. Garza.
Aye.
Ms. Stewart.
I'm going to be reading a statement on my no vote. So I will be voting no on this contract tonight for several important reasons. First, our community has spoken clearly on this issue. Across multiple nights of public comment, not one speaker voiced support for hiring armed guards, and not one speaker ever wrote me an email. While many spoke strongly against it, students, parents. If I was elected by this community, I would be taking seriously my responsibility to listen to their voices, and I have not heard support for this contract, so I cannot support it myself. Over the past 3 years, the consistent requests I have received from students, parents, and staff have been for more campus support, addressing fights, vaping, tardiness, and other urgent issues that directly and immediately affect students. This contract does not address those needs. Additionally, the company in question does not carry insurance for sexual abuse and molestation. For any agency working with children, this is a serious red flag and exposes our district to unnecessary risk and liability, and I cannot understand why we would partner with a company that lacks such critical protections. I am also deeply concerned about the impact this decision will have on our students. With over 70% of our students identifying as Hispanic and 13% as African American, I do not believe this contract will reduce stress for our students or our families and make them feel safer. On the contrary, I think it will increase their stress. Furthermore, while I have heard arguments that this contract could also help with homeless community members and incidents that we have had, there have been far more frequent problems with homelessness at our elementary schools, not our high schools, so this contract would not mitigate those situations either. Finally, I want to note that our CSEA employees and other local board members that I have been able to collaborate with have expressed their disagreement with this decision and voiced support with voting no, so I appreciate that. And for all of the reasons, the clear lack of community support, the absence of protections for children, the failure to meet the actual safety needs on campus and what our parents and students are asking for, and the potential harm to our students, I will be voting no tonight, an absolute no, and I'm very disappointed. Thank you. All right, so moving along to consent agenda. Does anyone have any items to hold on the consent agenda?
I don't have any items to pull, President Stewart, but I don't know when I should say this, but you know how we have the drug-free schools? You know, I've talked about bullying before. I'd like to know, when is that going to come around? I know there's a certain time when bullying comes around.
Could she just ask in her board report, or how can that work?
Yeah,
Or does she need pull?
Board report would be
Yeah.
most appropriate. Yes.
Okay, so just ask in the board report?
Yes, thank you.
All right, does anyone have any to pull? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
You have that motion?
May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Student Board Member Iwan Youngwoo,
Aye.
Ms. Armstrong,
Aye.
Ms. Cintron,
Aye.
Mr. Critchfield,
Aye.
Mrs. Garza,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart.
Aye. All right, moving along to board communications. Can we start with our student board member?
So seeing as there were no student representatives, I guess I'll have to do my part on behalf of Mayfair. So September 5th was Mayfair's senior sunrise, although it wasn't really very sunny. It was a nice event where we were able to just get together, have fun. We took a giant group picture, and then we're all left to our own devices after a while before all heading back. September 11th, we had Club Rush, which was, again, another great event where all of our clubs were able to come out, present themselves and show off for the students. Well, I just wish that there was a little more organization because the tables are very much first come, first serve. And then saving the best for last, Mayfair Monsoon Esports hosted our 13th Eye of the Storm on September 6th. It was a well-attended tournament with, I think, almost 80 attendants over a variety of games. Our Super Smash Bros. Bracket, which was our main bracket. We had Guilty Gear Strive, Street Fighter 6, and a bunch of side games. I know board member Critchfield has been to many of these events, and he knows the level of community and competitiveness that those events have. So I'd implore people from different districts and our district, because we go up to the college level, to attend those events. Because even though there are people from different schools coming, there's still this nice sense of community. Everybody's uniting for the same cause. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Board Member Armstrong?
Thank you, President Stewart. Okay, well, I did say I did my LACSTA meeting. That was in my committee report. Oh, my goodness. I did sit in with the PTA council, and I used to participate in the PTA, just the local school. So it just really felt great being among parents that are, so dedicated to ensure great experiences for our students. And I really did enjoy sitting in on the meeting with them. So if I ever have time again, I hope they invite me again. So it was cool. I also went to a conference, a CUBE conference. It's the Council for Urban Educators. We had school board members and superintendents from across the nation, and we had our very own LA representatives. We had Dr. Deborah Eduardo. She came in and she spoke to everyone, and she just shared her personal experience, and she goes from experience to impact. So she actually gave a really personal story of how she got to where she is right now. It's very, very encouraging and moving, and a story that shows how determined she was, or she is. Also, we had another speaker. His name was Dr. Brian Stevenson. He's the founder and director of the Equal Justice Initiative, and his theme was leading with courage. He shared many stories, but one story, he shared a story about his first time having to go and talk to someone who was incarcerated, and because that's basically what he does. He goes in, he represents people who are kind of poor and just incarcerated and condemned. And he told the story about how his first ever time going to be the representative for a client, that he really didn't know anything and really didn't know what to do to help this individual or even to make him feel better. But he said he said he just didn't know what to do, but what he really figured out during that time was that if I could just make a connection with this individual and just build this relationship, that's actually what helped that person. He ended up helping that individual get out of the situation. So his thing was I didn't even know what I was doing, but I was determined to do my best even if I didn't know what I was doing. But anyway, he's far from that now. Also, Colleen Kaepernick was there. He again I guess he's really trying to spread the word about his new company that he's the founder of called Lumi. And so, he's just trying to make sure that he shares, his program of artificial intelligence with as many districts as he could. Let's see what else. Oh, I also visited two campuses. I visited the newly constructed Compton High School and Performance Arts Center. It was a collaboration. This was a school that Dr. Andre Young helped build. He did the performance arts part of it. And I tell you, that campus, I can't believe they tore that whole campus down and they built it up. It is beautiful. And, that's something bond money could do. I also visited another school that they had, the Davis Middle School, and it was just amazing to see the students, as we have our own students who, are really into the robotics, the AI, the gaming. They had all kind of programs, and, it was really inspiring. And and Compton is our neighbor. So, pretty inspiring. Okay, so that's about it. That's all I did. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Armstrong. Board Member Sinchon?
Nothing to report.
Clerk Critchfield?
Thank you, Madam President. Since our last meeting on September 5th, I was proud to attend the Bellflower High School baseball field ribbon cutting. I also attended the Latino School Board Association Conference in San Diego with President Stewart, which was a great opportunity to connect with colleagues so we can broaden our perspectives and best serve all of our communities. Right after returning, I had the chance to attend the Milk Bucket game at Lakewood High School. It was really hard to give the trophy away, but we'll get it back next year. And just this morning, I joined over at Stephen Foster, the Heroes Welcome, where a local veteran returned home and surprised his two brothers at school. I love that we highlight those moments because I think that they're impactful. So thank you to Esmeralda and staff for putting a light on that. I appreciate that. For what we accomplished tonight, I'm happy that the items passed tonight. I think the bond measure is going to be very important. And I know that we still have a lot more work to do, but I feel confident in our ability to do that and gaining the support that we'll need in the future. And on the Mayfair Field project, I'm so excited about this. I want to emphasize how significant tonight is. I know this has been a long process with real challenges and lots of questions along the way. What we approved tonight ensures that when ground is broken, all the planning, environmental work, the contract, all in place. And I know that there were a lot of doubters and is it ever even going to happen? And I think that it's really, because I'm pretty impulsive and impatient, to be honest, but I think that so much work went into the front end of this. I feel very confident, and I think it's just really up to all of us to make sure that the project stays, is done right and is done on schedule. So it's nothing that's going to go away anytime soon. I'm really excited about the groundbreaking. On the safety contract, I'm happy that it passed. I think safety should always be first. And I think it should always be first for anybody who has the privilege of sitting on this dais. And although I value the opinions we all share, it doesn't mean I respect all the arguments when they're intentionally misleading or they serve the cause of creating confusion or doubt in an initiative that requires everyone working together to achieve the goal of keeping our campuses safe. It should be something that brings us all together. And again, I really hope we can get away from the hostile nature that's become commonplace at these meetings, because I feel that we need to set a better example for our kids. Before I close, I do want to acknowledge the climate our students are living in, the tragedies in Evergreen that Ms. Garza brought up, school shooting, the Catholic school shooting, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I think these weigh really heavy on young people in often ways we don't always see. A parent wrote me last week to share that her daughter, who's a student at one of our campuses, was singled out in class for sharing her conservative views and for mourning the death while other students were cheering. And I think that's unacceptable. I think it's really important if we value tolerance, inclusivity, and acceptance, then that means for every single child. No student's safety or sense of belonging in our district should be compromised by who they are or what they believe. Our mission is not to bring political hostilities and national conversations into the K through 12 classrooms. It's to make schools safe places where every student can focus on learning and be themselves. Compassion for all students is critical, and I think that's a standard that we must always keep in focus and uphold here in Bellflower Unified. In short, I think tonight's meeting is really important. It lays a lot of foundations for how we move forward, and we're moving forward a very optimistic future, and I'm very excited about that future. So thank you all for coming out tonight, even you, Peter.
Wow. Vice President Garza.
Thank you. I was able to attend the Mayfair Back to School Night. It's always a pleasure to be on campus. I just kind of walked around some classrooms, poked my head in, and said hello to some teachers as I walked by. I look forward to seeing our campus, that one specifically because we have a upcoming project on it to, start feeling the love and see that we are amazing campuses. All of our campuses, there's teachers that really want to be there. They are there for the kids. They want to make this a better place as well as their support staff and their principals. I think that going around and seeing all the joy and the excitement about the new school year just invigorates our kids and also myself as I walk through there. So I also was able to, Bellflower High School, I actually had a meeting, so I was not able to make it to your back to school night, but I promise I will be there at your next event. And then also I was able to go to back to school night with ILC. It's always nice to be back at the school that I was employed at and see how they are continuing to service our students and their families. And I also was able to go into Ernie Pyle at another night, and Stephen Foster as well. And I believe I went to one more, and let me look at my notes here, sorry. Yes, and then I went to Woodruff as well. Oh, and Baxter. So very happy that Baxter has their, their whole staff together again. Happy to see that they are moving forward and that they are starting off that, great school year with their full staff. Thank you. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Good evening. I apologize, but this is probably my longest board report I've had, but I just went to a conference, and this is our only way, well, we're supposed to report back what we've learned at conferences, so this is the only way that I could share what I've learned, so it's going to be a little bit long. I apologize. September 5th, I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony for baseball. I'm excited for our baseball team to have the opportunity to play on such a beautiful and better and safer field, so that was really awesome. September 9th, I attended back to school night at ILC. Thank you to Principal Plattis, AP Rojas, and their staff. They have such a hardworking staff. I walked every class, and it was just a really great turnout. The expectations were laid out nicely. They had a lot of parent support, and I appreciate them allowing me to be a part of their night. Again, I attended the California Latino School Board Conference in San Diego. I have a lot of report because I stayed the entire time. But the first general session was really awesome. It was with Dr. Paul Gothold and Dr. Robin Avalar LaSalle. One question that really impacted me was, what do we do for struggling learners, and what are expectations regarding preparing them for graduation or for college eligibility? And we looked at a few different things. We looked at, would we do things differently if it was a long-term English learner, if it was an AVID student, if it was a 504 student, a regular gen ed student, or what if it was your own child? So we discussed how the approach may be different if it were our own child. We would get them help. We would find tutors. We would talk to the teacher individually. We would help them with homework. We would put all of these things in place outside of class. So my question is, as a school district, what are we doing for our current students that looks that similar? Second, they discussed characteristics of high-functioning governance teams and student achievement. Some things to remember. The board and superintendent should work as a cohesive team with a common vision anchored in the relentless pursuit of their shared moral imperative. I repeat, moral imperative. Focusing on system-wide coherence, which was kind of cool because we just talked about that. I was talking with John Young about this and having our systems in place. A team effort of 3 to 5 broad, overarching strategic goals. So I'm glad that Saturday we're going to be able to expand on this. Holding the organization accountable to the community it serves. Building and maintaining a strong governance infrastructure. And in high-performing governance team, there is a shared understanding and respect of the roles and a level of trust and confidence that serves on the basis of that relationship, which I know we have discussed when we created our governance team handbook, and I'm looking forward to rediscussing this so that we can get back on track with following our own guidelines. I attended several workshops. The first was one, Acceleration Formula, Baseline Systems, Studies that Advance Educational Excellence and Academic Achievement for Every Student. This was very validating to attend because it talked about having systems in place, which we just talked about. They shared resources and ideas to create systems that have resources to ensure the maximum potential for all students. They reminded us on deep dives that it's not to blame anybody, but just to understand the systems that we already have in place that were created and why they are in place. That every system, if it's perfect or not perfect, was designed to get results that it's getting, and that's why we need to look at our systems. And they showed studies that demographics do not determine the destiny of our students, and we need to remember that. So they recommended the following questions when looking at our systems. 1, what is the achievement profile and the demographics of our students? 2, what are our past practices and where did the systems come from? And 3, what can be done to accelerate achievement? They reminded us that any design or structure in place should involve input from all educational partners and community, and that we should look to find the root reasons of the deficiency. I attended the next workshop on proactive immigration solutions for K-12 employees. This workshop discussed how to protect our employees who are DACA recipients and dreamers in case that goes away. It reminded us that all students benefit from having diverse educators and staff, that the board should consider how we can protect our employees, and that we should consider having a lawyer that specializes in immigration policies, especially in this day and age, and that we can also add ad hoc committees to support immigration, and that really there's 2 options for our employees, green cards or temporary visas, and that HR can help protect them. The third conference workshop I attended was Math Literacy to Inspire Liberation. This was a really good workshop. It reminded us to make connections with students and engage with real-life experiences that relate to the demographics of our students, to tap into their prior knowledge and their past experiences. We should create after-school programs that are centered and culturally relevant, content-rich with field trips, and include things related to math like coding, engineering, make sure that there's a lot of affirmation and joy, and try to extend math beyond itself. I attended another workshop on elevating classified leadership excellence and building board support for essential personal development, which I talked to President Michelle Cuellar about. This was probably my favorite workshop of the conference. The main question they asked us was, where do we learn to lead? Typically, we learn to lead at home with family members or on the job, but we should build capacity within our CSEA employees because we always talk about building up our community and partnering with them, and many of our CSEA employees live in our community, and they are keeping the culture and climate of our schools and district intact. So we should be discussing what qualities we would want our employees to have. We talked about things that we thought as board members there at the conference that we would like to see, which is teamwork, solution-oriented, collaborative, interpersonal skills, communication skills, being culturally competent, team players, how to assess situations, and being critical thinkers. So we were asked to think about how we are training our staff and if any of those types of leadership qualities are being shared and taught to our employees. They reminded us that one classified manager could overlook hundreds of employees and that we should invest in training them to be phenomenal leaders and develop a profile of a classified employee that we would like to see. So their thought-provoking question was, what skills do we want our employers to possess and how do we implement the things we need to train them? The last workshop I went to was District AI Readiness in Action, Practical Strategies for Systematic Impact. This was I can't talk. This is so long. I'm so sorry. This was also a really good session. They discussed the difference between AI literacy and AI readiness. The question that we looked into was what knowledge, skills, and mindsets do our students need to be successful in a world where AI is significantly integrated into all careers and daily life. One thing I learned was AI chatbots, which if you don't know, it's like an AI chatbot that they can talk to, are mostly used by people under 17. That's our kids. And we should provide them with the basics, being critical thinkers with technology, and trying to teach them the advantages of human advantages and connections and relationships with actual human beings, because it looks like and it sounds like some of these kids are going out for relationships, advice, friendships, and we should teach them how to value people. Also, we need to think about maximum coverage for implementation, so thinking about how to inform our community, how we would work PLCs, professional development, and this, they reminded us, we worked with San Diego, one of their unions, one of their school districts, and they just reminded us that it's a long, collaborative process. It's focused on how we can use this to benefit teachers and students. And it took them about a year, and they went through a long process, but they're doing really great things. If AI can help teachers, and we can get teachers and staff to understand that we're not replacing their jobs, we're enhancing them. If they can understand that how to use these to make things better for them, then they can focus on other skills, so it will actually give them more time. And it can also be used in our district office. They talked about in their business district part of their district, how they used it for cost effectiveness, how to find duplicate invoices, tables, charts, spreadsheets, and they helped with organization. So it was just really nice to hear how all the different ways that they use AI in their district. And I definitely think we should get on that committee and we should start working on that. Tuesday, I took part in the Paramount Unified Aspiring Leadership Academy. I was one of the applicants chosen to participate in this year-long leadership cohort. This is the second year they have done this, and the number of applicants have doubled. They started at 29, and now they have 39. And I'm thankful to Dr. Kotanda, who is our Assistant Superintendent of HR. She created this for our Paramount employees just to, again, teach good leadership skills. And I hope that we will consider this type of program here in Bellflower in the future. I think it's a really great program. I wanted to congratulate the Bellflower football team. Since the last meeting, they have won 2 more games, so they are 3-0, which is obviously much better than we did last year. And my Austin Miller update, he in his second game had 4 touchdowns, and in his third game he had 2 more touchdowns. So he has 7 touchdowns in 3 games. He's doing amazing. So I'm really excited for them. They have a really tough game against an undefeated CIF champion this week, so we'll see how they do. Again, I want to apologize for the length of this. And one little thing, I think I'm finally realizing what's happening with this screen up here. So I don't know if we can talk to technology. I think what's happening is it's coming up in alphabetical order instead of how people are going in, or at least that's what I think was happening tonight. So if we can ask Christian to look at that, I think that's why I'm confused all the time. And then secondly, or lastly, actually, I just want to address this, notion that I am just being this hostile board member, because I think we all understand that these comments are pointed to me. And I'm passionate, and I listen to our community, and I don't think me saying how I feel and asking questions is being hostile. I think hostile is being disrespectful, maybe calling people names, maybe interrupting and yelling at people, things like that. But I serve my community just like every other member on the dais, and I'm going to be passionate about the things that I believe in because I hear from a lot of people, and they believe in the same things. So I don't think I'm being hostile. I think maybe I'm being micromanaged, and maybe I don't like that, and maybe that comes out, but I don't think this is being hostile. So the fact that that keeps getting pointed out that I'm being hostile, I just want to say I disagree with that. But I am going to stand up for what I believe in. I do not lie to the public. Nothing I say is inaccurate. There's no hidden agendas. None of that's happening, but I am going to ask the questions that I hear. And I'm going to ask the questions that my community members ask me to ask. So as far as hostile, I've seen a lot more hostile prior to me being president, but that's a whole nother subject. All right, are there any questions on informational items? No? I have lost my script. All right, if there is no objection, this meeting will be adjourned at 8:48 p.m. until the next regular board meeting to be held on October 4th? Tomorrow. Until the next board member, Saturday, September 20th. Thank you.